Welcome to Africa Speaks of today. My name is Stephen Mulindwa, and I do hope that you had a wonderful weekend. My father told me from a young age that success is not complete without helping others. So said Susan Fajana Thomas. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Right. You've done everything. You're a counselor, you're a journalist, you started a foundation, you were once a speaker of the Hackney Council. What else haven't Susan done, and what else has Susan done? Tell us about your journey.
Thanks very much. Yes, I still have quite a lot to do, but I give God the glory, thank people around me, my family, for the support that I've had from them for almost 30 years. I've been in the community as an activist, as a politician, as a campaigner, as an advocate.
Yeah.
So the journey has been good, and I've been able to do that. Just going back to the quote from my father, that was the way I was brought up. He taught us that you don't have to just be happy. The first thing about life is for you to be happy, but while you are happy, you need to be useful. And your usefulness is not just for you and your family. Your usefulness is to the whole world.
Yeah.
And how better can you do that is by supporting other people.
Okay.
Is by making by curating happiness for other people.
Okay.
Through whether advocacy, whether or supporting them emotionally. And that has been my driving force with all that I've done, in particular around campaigning. I've campaigned for issues around housing, issues around policing, around community safety, around gender equality, around family issues, supporting young people, which it is a passion of me, or it is a passion for me to be able to support young people, curating that pathway for them, where pathway they can follow to success. And that's part of why I've done what I've done. And I hate when people say because you're a woman you cannot do this. That's why I campaign on women issues. That's why I'm very involved with women organizations. I'm the president of Nigerian Women in Diaspora and the coordinator of African Women in Diaspora. And it's about working with our women to help them build the self-confidence for them to go out there and achieve as women. And it's about supporting our young people to help them go out there and have a journey, have a path, and a right path for that matter. So it is important for me. And in terms of what I'm doing in my experience, the latest thing I'm doing at the moment is supporting young people as a response to the increase in youth violence in the UK in the last 2 years, and in particular affect the overrepresentation of Black African as perpetrators and victims. So early in the year we started a community parenting mentoring project, which is supporting young people. We're recruiting Africans, leaders, African with experience of parenting, as community parent, to support our young people. So that all those things are important to me. Okay. as an individual.
Okay. Now, you were a speaker of Hackney Borough, and during that time quite a lot of things of course happened. And when you look at the time when you were a speaker and now the changes, some of the things that you implemented at the time, do you see a massive change in what happened during your time as speaker?
There's
Nothing much.
There are changes every day. There are changes. And that is what makes us a country that is growing.
Okay.
Even
Okay.
as human being, I'm not the same. I've put on
Yeah.
3 stones from
Yeah.
when I was the civic mayor to when I was
Yeah.
here. So there are changes, and the changes that I've seen are changes for better.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
which is a good thing. So the changes might be, for instance, when I was the speaker in my borough, my party at the time, I think our membership
Went up?
Our membership was like 100,000.
All right.
And today our membership is almost 500,000, or
Oh,
over
wow.
500,000.
Oh my goodness.
We've
Yeah.
become the largest political party in Europe, not in the UK.
Okay.
So that is a movement. That's a big change. Majority of the way things are run in the parties are different now because of the large membership.
Yeah. Okay.
But having said that, the changes for better.
Okay. Now the improvements in other areas, for example, the asylum seekers. You're involved in these groups. You're involved in the women's group, as you said from the beginning. The children, and of course you're involved with the police as well, in the policing matters as far as the police is concerned. All those things involve quite a huge budgets. I know you're probably not the best person to know about this, but do you think that the money that is being given is enough to tackle most of these problems?
Not at all. And I'll be speaking as a member of the Labour Party, an activist, and an elected Labour Party individual.
Yeah.
And the government, the current government, the conservative government, I think they've done quite a lot of damage to people in this country.
They cut down the cut down on the budget.
The austerity measure policies have actually affected many people. Even we mentioned the increase in youth violence. That's been one of the reasons, one of the major reasons, because of the cut in policing, because of the cut in school funding. A lot of activities that are available probably 10 years ago in schools are not available now because of the cut, because of austerity measure. Policing is the same thing. So I think many things have happened in the last 5, 6, 7 years in this country that have actually pushed some of the population of this country into a worse state rather than a better state, which is it is disheartening.
But can't the boroughs fight back and say, listen, this is not enough, this is what we want, do some kind of demonstration and say, hey, we don't have enough, we need more, we need, raise your voices,
We are fighting back, that I can tell you, and at the end of the day, the party in government will make decisions. But we've seen issues where they've made a U-turn. For instance, just last week it was announced one of the campaigns that we in Hackney were very, very involved in around housing. Now, as you know, before, when you want to let a place, in terms of people that are renting housing in this country became such a huge thing.
It is.
In particular for our young people. So the government now, they've moving forward, they've scrapped the letting fees, and there is going to be a cap on deposit. Those are some of the changes you can see, and I can tell you that the campaign around private renting sector came hugely from the Labour Party. And we have seen changes, or the government making U-turn in terms of that, and you can see the welfare, the changes to the benefit, the welfare state. We campaign against that as well, and we've seen some changes in terms of the way disabled people are assessed, in terms of the way people on benefit, they're cutting their benefit, or just randomly stopping their benefit because for one reason or the other they're not in the job center to sign on.
Okay.
So we are campaigning against all those areas, and we are seeing a bit of change and U-turn from the government. But at the end of the day, they are making decisions.
They're the ones that in office. So yeah,
we can do. They've got the budget,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they are the one administering the budget.
Now, you've mentioned gender equality at the beginning as one of the things that you're very passionate about, and you have been very active as far as that is concerned. And I'm looking at gender from the point of view, especially as far as Africa is concerned, where we look at our traditions in Africa, and especially for those who are living here and the Africans, and they came all the way to live here, and they know in Africa there is always a husband has always been looked up from a cultural point of view in a different way from the way we look at women. How is this gender balance being fought for? Because you are the sort of person who can really address this. How can this be balanced together? Because most African men don't want to.
I'll just first pick you on the African and the culture. There is a misconception in Africa.
Yeah.
In terms of women, men and women.
Yeah.
And I want you to cast your mind back when you will launch African suffragettes. Last year, with some of my
I remember that.
Sisters from various parts of Africa, and the reason we've done that is to actually trace the history of women in Africa.
Okay.
Women in Africa before religion, before the Islamic religion, before Christianity came to Africa, used to be warrior. They used to lead men to war. So it does happen.
Yeah.
And I think when there is a shift in Africa with the arrival of the missionary, with this, with Christianity and the Islamic religion, put a bit of brought certain aspect of those religions
which change the position of women.
Suppresses women's position.
Okay.
Women that are warriors. Women are warriors in Africa. Women in the Middle Ages, women led men to war. And we've got account of them. We've published a book on these strong African women. So things changes, and I want our men. It's not the cultural aspect of women. Men, some men, not all men, looking at women as the weaker link. We are not. And they look at us in that way in terms of strength, physical strength. But being a leader is not about physical strength.
No, it isn't.
It's about leadership ability. It's about it's about recognizing that on average a woman is as intelligent as a man. That a woman is as intelligent as a man when it comes to leadership and can deliver. And I think that's where we're missing it. And where we're missing it for some men thinking within the African culture, within our mindset, thinking, we need to give women a chance. It's not about giving women a chance. It is about equal opportunity. It's about curating that vision together. It's about sharing in those successes.
Do you think it will require some kind of education?
I believe it requires a kind of education and changing of mindset. Because when we launched...
Because old habits die hard. And
when we launched the African suffragettes, and we were talking about the history of strong African women, the way women led war in many parts of Africa. Some men were looking and saying, no, Really?
Yeah.
That happens.
Yeah, because I remember, I think her name is Ngozi, the former World Bank.
Ngozi
Yeah,
Iweala
yeah,
Okonjo.
yeah,
Yeah.
Okonjo there. She's a former Nigerian finance minister,
finance
and she
minister.
worked with the World Bank for some time. And I think she was addressing the Nigerian Senate. And one of the things that she mentioned, she's a friend of yours, by the way. I think
Yes.
I've seen you with her. Was that I think Nigerian politics will change if Nigeria gets a woman leader or Nigeria gets more women in the Senate, of which so many of them were saying, well, no, no, no. I mean, it's like what you said about the mindset and the cultural backgrounds that we have. That of course it's a man who marries, a man does this, a man does, these details, the West has already addressed them, as you're saying about gender equality. Now, Africa has a long way to go, and I think women like you would be the ones to lead the way in addressing this issue. Now, when you're here in this borough and you're seeing women who are coming in, this issue has the educational level of what you can say. For example, like Somalians, I've been seeing so many Somalians, and they are trying to address it in their own way, where culturally the Muslim faith has a different approach to it, but they need help. They need help. This is where you could, as a Labour Party member, can go into government and say, maybe we need to introduce special training in schools so that the next generation of women won't face what women of your generations are faced.
I think things are changing gradually, but like you said, we still need quite a lot of work. For instance, I'll pick on African politics. It is very difficult in Africa for a woman to actually make it, and the reason for that is not that we don't have intelligent women in Africa. It's not that we don't have women with ideology, with their political savvy. What we have is the way politics
is reign. The way they run it
in Africa.
Yeah.
And it's about people with Godfather. It's about resources that many women might not have. We know that majority of countries in Africa, politics are played by money. It is politics of selfishness, of if you have the money, then you can achieve whatever you want to achieve. And sometimes women are not able to or have the resources that is available to their men counterpart. So it makes it difficult. But I believe that with mindset, with changing of mindset, with education, some men are listening. And no, and I'm not I'm a proud feminist, but I'm not one of those women that believe we can do it alone. I always say what we want is for our men to support us to achieve. We cannot do it as women. We cannot do it alone. We need the men to support us. We need the men to have a change of mind to say, this is my wife, this is my sister, this is my daughter. We need to work this work together. We need to share this vision and this mission together. We need to be part of this movement. And that is how we can succeed in terms of women gender equality.
Now you're also passionate about politics, and I've read a couple of articles and seen you within the political circles. And in fact, when we were at the Universal Peace Award, Universal Peace Federation, you talked about this country you visited, very passionate, Hungary, and then you saw the unity which was existing there as far as politics in Hungary, Africans in Hungary were concerned. On the continent, it's a different story altogether. What should we do? Especially Nigeria, your country. I mean, formerly from Nigeria.
My home country. Yes, it is. Again, what we can do in terms of, I think, if you ask an average person, what are the challenges of politics in Africa in general, they will say to you is because of lack of good governance, is because of corruption, is because of lack of infrastructure, and But I would say that if politicians in Africa are able to actually understand, I normally usually refer to Nigerian democracy as Nigerocracy. And Nigerocracy is like the politics is that there is a sort of Nigerian democracy that is different from what you call democracy.
Yeah.
And when you are in a democratic governance, when you're a politician, being in politics is about taking a cross
and serving
that you
them.
want to serve people. You want to be an advocate, that you want to see that good governance exists. But all those things are absent in African politics.
Yeah.
There is no accountability.
Yeah.
You cannot be a politician without being accountable to people you serve, to people or you represent.
Yeah.
Because the reason behind all of this is just one word: is selfishness.
Okay.
It's because the politics over there are politics of selfishness. It's about them. It's about their personal interest. It's about amassing wealth. The moment Africans and African leaders or politicians can have a change of mind from thinking, actually, this is not about me. This is about other people. Things will change. It's not the corruption. Because what drives the corruption is the selfishness.
Of course, yeah, of course.
So
of course.
if people are able to come to that place where they realize, actually, it is considering other people, is looking at the fact that as a leader, your children are in America, are in the UK, enjoying good education, and you a leader, and some of the people that cannot afford to send their children
to America,
to the UK, they cannot even afford. You're not even making common desk and chairs available for them. The state of the school building is appalling.
Yeah, they come here for treatment. They come here for treatment.
The teachers are there. You're not paying them.
Yeah.
So they go there when they feel like. How can you ask somebody if you haven't paid for 3 months that they need to be at their point of employment? The whole point of being employed is, at the end of the day, you're going to have an income.
And you support your family.
To support your family. So these people, we need to, when the government is not paying them, they need to look for other source of income to support their families.
Suggestions have been made that maybe the changes of that could happen if we get more westernized people back in Africa. I mean, Rwanda is trying at the moment. They've got women in certain areas of authority in the government, and at the same time they've started having they're getting white teachers in, they're getting white doctors in, because Kagame once said that they are coming here on contracts and they're improving the health system, they're improving the education system, but we're not bringing them in permanent, but we're bringing them so that they improve on what we are trying to do, and then maybe over the years they'll go back. Can Nigeria, do you look at Nigeria and see that happening, or even in any other parts?
To be honest with you, I'm not in support of that. Yes, you can. There is benefit in sharing good practice. Which people like us that live in this part of the world, we know about good practice, we know about good governance. It is good. But what stops us as Africans for changing people's mindset, for educating people? Like you said, Kagame is one of the leaders in Africa that is doing quite a lot of work. Rwanda, I've seen a huge change,
of course, and
that for better. So I credit him for doing that. But having said that, whatever is using the Westerners to do, an average African can do.
Of course they can do. But I think the idea for him is that if they come here, we used to have them as expatriates, by the way. They would come in Africa, and Ghana is trying as well to get, if in fact fellow Ghanaians could be paid, to be even paid as expatriates in Ghana. And I think Kenya is trying to do something similar. Several African countries are trying to see if they can get their own people who are living abroad to go back and work as expatriates, paid in dollars if you can, or pounds as well, because that money will still remain in the country. They won't take it out. But the biggest thing is that when they see you working and you are from here, and probably the mindset will change than the person who is, on the ground there. That is, I think, the whole point behind it.
I do in support of Africans that live, Africans in diaspora coming back home. I'm one of those people. I'm an advocate of that. Not even you can start from from being unpaid, from volunteering. We've got a lot of experience from this part of the world that we can take back home in terms of educating people, in terms of changing things. What part of the main one of the reasons where our governance in Africa are not working is because of systemic failure. The system itself needs changing. So if you are able to get people with the mindset of who knows how they can run a system that works, then things will become better. And I believe Africans in the United States, in the UK, we are so many now, we've got those experience that we can take back home to bring a change. But some of African countries see us as foreigners.
Of course,
rather than actually tapping into our experience, encouraging us to come back home and do something. I've heard people saying in Nigerian politics, with some people that are going back from this part of the world to go and stand the election, saying that they don't know why they're coming back. As if we that are in Nigeria don't know how to run the system, or don't know how to run for election, and that is the way they say it. All those things need changing. All those thinking, that pathway of thinking from our people need to change, to know that actually as diasporans we want the best for Africa. Yes, we might be living a proud British citizen, but having said that, I'll be happy to see Africa develop, to see Africa rise, to see Nigeria rise, and things are changing. That does not, or being a British does not stop me from wanting to see that in my roots.
Now, the thing is, we really do want that to happen, but as you see, the key word is the mindset, because the mindset, if we have a mindset, and however much you're going to do to try it out, it's going to be very, very difficult. If someone over there has a very different mindset, because we've tried it, I have tried it as well, go home, do something, and then suddenly you are facing, not just you are competing with them, but at the same time, it's like, oh, no.
Facing many barriers.
Yeah, the barriers are put there. They
put it on.
You try and maybe live there for some time, because Alistair was here last week and he was explaining part of his faith, the president's election and the lessons he learned from that. One of them is the things that you've mentioned here, is that, okay, they look at you and say, well, you're here, but you're going to go back tomorrow. Yeah, we are here. So might as well support somebody who has lived here, because that's the state, that's what is in their mind. I'm looking at the youth now as a major issue as well. The question of education is not properly exploited, not just here in Hackney or in Africa as a whole. Is there, as a person who's been mentoring people around, what is the key problem when you look at the youth?
I think one of the key problems when we look at the youth It is actually, I'm not going to see problems. There are
There are challenges.
There are challenges, but
Yeah.
having said that, just as we've mentioned earlier on,
Yeah.
our young people need support from when they were young
Yeah.
to be able to make the right decisions.
Okay.
I think majority of our young people are not are people that they don't have that support network that support them to make the right decisions
Yeah.
at young age. When it comes to education, if we're talking about education as going to university, I think both here and back home in Africa, many of our young people are actually going to university. They are achieving, but at the end of the day, there are unemployment there.
It's disappointment when they come out.
Disappointment when they go there. You spend 5 years at university, you came out, you don't have a job. So you are back to the same person who didn't go to university, which is one of the major reasons why many people might frown around education in Africa. Is like, when I go, there's no job for me to come back to. And having said that, I'm actually a supporter of apprenticeship.
Okay.
It's not it's not all of the young people that will go to university, that university is the pathway for them. There are many young people that they can make a decision, oh, I want to become a videographer. You don't need to go to university to become that. I want to become a photographer. You don't need to go to university. I want to become a plumber. I want to become an electrician. And follow the path to be able to achieve that. So it is about achieving what they want to better their economic status.
Entrepreneurship is I think one of the key things that need to be encouraged quite a lot. Some people to become entrepreneurs in so many ways, but that is not always on the agenda. I don't know why.
It's always I think it's not in the forefront of the agenda. It is important as well. So there are a lot of people, when you look at many millionaires around, it's not actually their degree. They don't achieve becoming a millionaire because of the degree they acquired. They achieve becoming a millionaire because of other aspects of their life, in particular their entrepreneurship experience. And so that is also important. Somebody, there is a young person, which is part of what we are doing with our Excel mentoring. I don't want a young person to say, oh, I don't want to go to university. I don't want to be saying to them, oh, you need to go to university. Or degree is important. I want to sit with that young person. I said, okay, you don't want to go to university. What would you like to do?
Exactly. But what one of the key problems that I've seen here, and it's a big problem, is the fact that those who have succeeded, I've seen this with footballers, I've seen this with the mainly footballers, actors, and so on. The moment they make it, especially with the Nigerian footballers, we tried to get Kanu several times on radio when he was playing for Arsenal, and we tried to get Drogba at one time. We have African events, and we have things that we try to arrange. That these are people who have made it in our societies, and let them come, talk to us, talk to the other young people, and encourage them. I even tried at one time to get this Nigerian-born lady who won. She won an Olympic gold medal for Britain, 400 meters. Trying to get her name. She lives here actually in Hackney. She lives in your borough.
Oh I know us.
Yeah, I've forgotten her name.
I'll remember her name in a minute.
She's we tried several times. We tried Chris Akabosi. Most of those who have made it on top. We said, calm down and mentor these young people. They look at you and they say, maybe I should go into athletics. Maybe I should, be a boxer. Maybe I should be. But we find it difficult that they don't want to. Once they reach the top there, they don't want to look down and say, I think let me go down there and say, yeah, what should we do as far as the Africans are concerned?
It's not about not looking down. I think it's where
not
we are
behind them. Yeah.
I think it's where we are in the modern society.
The reason I ask that, if I may interrupt you, the reason I ask that is that I believe people like you within the political circle should be the one to try and reach out to them. I think they will listen to you than they will listen to us.
Chris, if you are hearing me, you need to come on this program. I think it's about PR.
Yeah, public
That's
relations.
what it is.
Yeah, public relations.
It is about PR.
Yeah.
It's about the same set of people. I can tell you.
Yeah.
If the BBC called them and want them to appear on a BBC program, they will.
They will. Yeah, they will.
Because they think that is. Is actually giving them publicity, exposing them to a wider audience, exposing them to the right audience.
I agree.
So I think that's what it is, which is a shame.
Yeah, it is.
And majority of these people you've mentioned, they actually have their own organization, charitable organization that are working. In at the grassroots level, supporting people, either families, young people,
I agree.
or other things. But it's just this CEO with it's image management.
Yeah, it is. So I agree with you. I agree.
That's what it is.
I agree, because when I attended Kanu's charity, Kanu has a charity, the charity that support, because I think when he had a heart attack,
he does have a charity that
so he started a
people.
charity and so on. And I attended the charity, and I invited him to come to Voice of Africa Radio at the time, because I was working for the station, and I said, come around, we interview you. A lot of black people, Africans, would want to listen to hear what you went through. And how the youth would be very keen. And then he referred me to his public relations manager, and then it was going around in circles. The manager was saying, oh no, now there's the training to do now. So in the end, it was so frustrating. So that's why I said, look, we need really to get these people to help out, because I think, as you're saying, yes, you're right. It's something to do with public management, but there has to be a way. We have to find a way. We
have to find a way. But when you have a publicist, that's how it works.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do have a PR.
Yeah.
And when I said, "Oh, I'm going somewhere to speak," he said, "I don't
go."
I'm not aware of it. So I said, I've responded when I said, "Oh, because most emails I have access to my admin email." I've responded. He said, "Oh no, you shouldn't have." I said, "Oh, because I've read the email." So it's about the image management, the PR, and what they're missing, like what you said, is actually, it might be the appearance of this program that might change a young person's
mind,
life, that might inspire somebody at home,
it's true,
rather than the BBC or the Fox TV or CNN appearances. So it is a shame, but that is the world we are, and they need to manage.
I know, because I remember when Gordon Brown was Prime Minister, the Labour Prime Minister, he invited several of us to Downing Street, journalists from the African media groups, and he was asking questions, because at one time when he was addressing a press conference, he realized there were no African journalists there, and he said, why is there no African journalist in Downing Street? They were saying, oh no, we invited. They said, no, you sure? So he invited us. They sent a memo, and we all went down there, and he was saying, look, how come you were not there? Then we said, no, because we were not invited. Said, okay, I'll make sure that now I've invited you. I'll make sure, because if you are not invited, then the chances that you are not going to take them, you have a media, a different people who are listening to you or who are passing information to you. Now, the information we have to gather, we gather it from the BBC, we gather it from the top guys. this time around, up to the time when he left office, we were being invited there, which was quite nice.
It
which
is.
was
I
quite
agree
nice.
with you, and that is again about the management of, like I said, the PR thing. Because if they believe you are not broadcasting on the mainstream channel. So the message to them, the message is not getting to the right audience through your channel. That's why you mentioned that Alistair was here a couple of weeks ago. That's why somebody like Alistair really admired and take pride in what he's achieved with Ben Television, because it was a difficult area.
When he started.
That's what it is, because we're not regarded, they're not mainstream. They're only broadcasting to African population. We need this message to
go across into
that's what it is.
In fact, there was quite a question which was asked, and Gordon Brown asked. He says, look, if we were to give Africa, I've always remembered this, 400 million British pound. What sort of sector would we invest? Because he says, look, he's going to meet African leaders and he's going to make a suggestion of giving Africa, for example, 400 million British pounds. Now, what kind of investment would they invest the money in? And we were all laughing, saying, look, that money will probably come back here in one way or another. And it sort of was, it said, no, it won't. We will make sure, should we put it in agriculture? Should we put it in
building infrastructure?
Where should the money go? And I put that to a politician now. Where do you think, if that money was to be given to Africa, where should it go?
Oh, it's obvious. It's, one of the things that we lack in Africa is infrastructure. We need to, in particular, the energy. Is like, for instance, a place like Nigeria. There are many people that wanted to set up industries, and industries cannot work. You cannot set up a manufacturing industry on generator when you don't have roads, when you don't have electricity. That all you will be doing is generating electricity through a generator. All those are important.
Very expensive, which is very expensive.
Which is very expensive, and those things are very important when you want to run a company. Where if somebody lives here and go to another city, you are not able to reach them by phone, because the telephone is so expensive over there for you to be able to communicate readily with people. Those are the areas. If they look into those areas, then other areas will become easier in terms of.
I just wish you're probably over there and you're leading that country. You're probably things would have been different. Now I want to find out, as a mother, a woman who have achieved this level. You have a lot of women looking at you and seeing you as a role model, and said, "Look, I wish I could be like her." What are there difficult? Are there steps to be taken? Because as an activist, a journalist, someone who's an activist and is going out there and campaigning over this, something you believe in, something you've seen. Is it something that spires from your childhood, or is it something, as I quoted your father here, or is this something that is inborn? Because so many women, I think, are attempting certain things and they are failing by the first hurdle.
It is to a certain degree. You can say might be inborn. Or family experience. Okay. But importantly, it's about passion. It's about passion, it's about changes. I believe I'm a game changer. And to me, making a difference to other people's life is what makes me happy. That's what makes my life fulfill. Being useful to other people. Yes, I want to be comfortable. I want to do this. I want to do that. But at the end of the day, what happened today? What happened tomorrow? I close my eyes and won't open again.
Yeah, yeah.
So I believe in legacy. I believe in touching, in using your life to touch other people's life. That you were going, but you will leave a legacy. People will remember you
Because of
not
what you've
because of that your nice house, your good clothes, your nice cars, but people will remember you because of the lives you've touched. So that is to me, that is my drive. And I love when I put my mind into doing something,
You go ahead and do it.
I'm like a dog with a bone. I'm one of those people, if I want to do something, unless I achieve that, I won't rest, I won't stop thinking of it. And that is my drive. And if people can get to that stage, and when you do it, and most people have mentored a lot of young people, and they come back to actually testify to that. For the moment you are able to use your time to support other people, make that connection, and somebody come back to you to say, oh, thank you
for doing this.
That is the motivation. You don't want to stop, you want to keep going and continue. But if you don't start it, you won't know the feeling. It's something you cannot explain. It's something that is bigger than having money, houses, and everything, every wealth you can accumulate. Being able to look and see, oh, I've made a difference to that family's life.
Theresa May once said that I think most of the challenges that women face, she was looking at her partner, her husband then. I said, look, most of the challenges women face, they're not brought about by men, as she looked at her husband, but they're brought about because we fail to understand each other in a home. And I was thinking in terms of African women facing men when their challenges are put on the table, where men would simply say, I think this is my way. And sometimes you also have that a battle in between the two. What kind of opinion would you give anybody who's having a person trying to put him down not to do something?
I think life is about partnership.
Yeah.
Life is about connecting to people. And life is about valuing other people.
One another,
If you're able to do that, that will not happen. Yes, we all have strong views on issues. But every just like I taught my children, everyone's opinions, our views are valid. You might feel, oh, that's not good enough. But to that individual that is thinking that way, it is good enough for them. So it's now coming to a place of agreement, of having a consensus, or this is the way I want to do it, or if we do it this way will be better. And agreeing, bringing your views and my views onto the table, and finding that commonality, that common ground that can move both views, opinion forward. That is quite important. And I think some women, I'm not going to sit here and say that is what is lacking in some women's attitude towards the men. So some men believe they are the leader. You just need to make them understand that actually I can contribute to what you have. You've got a penny, I've got a penny. That make us have what do we have?
We got a pound or something.
We put it together. Unlike when we're only depending on your penny and you think I'm not able to bring anything to the table. It's about respect. That everyone can bring something to the table, and when we're able to do that, we're going to move forward.
Universal Peace Federation, one of the lecturers there was saying that one of the biggest problems I think we have in Africa is that we lack people who are negotiators. We lack negotiators. We lack people who can they're called negotiators, peace peacemakers, people who can sit down really and see that. I think it's an art which needs to be taught as well. Yeah, but it was already existing in Africa. People would sit together and come together, and during celebrations, during marriages, during those these things are happening. But we lack that. How can we bring that back? Because it was there. I know very well it was there in Africa, because tribes used to sit together. When marriages, and you see it among Africans, when marriages are taking place, people are joined together, people eat together, people, villages meet, they eat, which symbolizes that we are all brothers. But when it comes to making the peace within homes, within where we are, it's lacking. Does it need to be? Do we need to be re-educated over that again?
We need to be re-educated, and the whole of that is about I'm better than you. Sort of mentality of in particular men. Why should I listen to you? I'm better educated, I'm wealthier than you. Even they think, because some people think because they're wealthy, that's will compensate for every other aspect of life.
But the churches are moving away from it as well. This is what is worrying me, because the churches would be the one to implement most of these churches would be the ones to be teaching most of this into families.
It is, I think, I'm not quite. I didn't quite get what you were saying about the churches.
What I'm saying is that the teachings of the churches, in a sense that the family values, which long time ago used to be the issues in the 60s and the early 70s. Most churches, now there's so many churches, there's so many apostles, there's so many pastors, but the teachings are different from what was being taught years ago. So maybe, it's only a suggestion, we need to go to the church leaders and say, look, people are listening to you, people are seeing you. You need to start to reinforce this peace mechanism within the families, so that the people can listen to and talk to each other. That is that's how I feel. I agree with you.
Anyway. It is important, but having said that, I'm a Christian, but I don't want to get onto our churches, in particular African churches. And you go and look in Africa, how many general overseers got their own private jet, because
I know.
Religion today is turned to money making.
I know.
It's turned to business. How much money you can generate. And in terms of that, if people can focus on the family, on promoting family values in churches, things will be better. And from early age, letting people understand that respect for others' opinions are very important. Valuing others' people are very important. Those are the things that we need to learn. When you learn all those things, then you won't have you won't be pig-headed and believe you are better than somebody else. Your opinion is better than their opinion. Their views is not valid. So it's out of not respecting other people that comes up.
We're coming to the end of the program. Is there any advice you want to send out, especially to the women, the children, and the men as well, by the way?
What I would just say is thank you for having me here and for curating a platform where we can discuss and talk about African issues and African issues and Africans, both in the diaspora and back home. But in terms of advice, what I would say is, in particular to young people, it is important for you as a young person from an early age to know exactly what you want to achieve and put your mind into achieving that. Determination is very important. Tenacity is very important. And for women, it is important for us to be able to respect ourselves self-confidence is very important in whatever we do. Don't let anybody say you're a woman, you cannot do it. Always have that I can do attitude, and that's what I would say. Always a young person, men, women, believe that you can do it. Believe in yourself. It is very important.
It's the key word. I just want to say thank you very much for coming to the show and telling us about the journey and the very good advice that you've given us, and I hope those viewing us have taken it on board and will be of value to them. I just want to say thank you very much for this, for being with us on today's program, and I hope to see you again next week for another program of Africa Speaks. Thank you, and may God bless you.